So John McCain was probably the most seriously wounded, injured POW who actually was able to come home and live through it, from the capture part and the ejection sequence. He was in almost a full body cast there in the early days, but he was in the Hanoi Hilton, and I was too. So they called McCain in and said, you know, you're going to be going home, we're releasing you. They were going to release 3 guys. McCain said, I don't think so. I'm staying. So they sent him back to his cell to think it through. And he came back and same thing. Nope, I'm staying here. Now he had talked it over with some guys next door, and they said, you know, sick and wounded, and you're pretty badly wounded, and you ought to think seriously about going home. You could go home, and it's okay. That was fall of 1969. And when that leadership changed, and the new leadership said, well, let's treat the POWs differently. I got to write a letter. 6 months later, I got my first letter. They stopped the torture so that we walked out of there 3 years later in good mental and physical condition that we came home. So we rolled our multi-million-dollar F4 into an attack face-to-face with these gunners, diving down at 45 degrees at 450 miles and 500 miles an hour, 450 knots. And right after the bombs came off the airplane, the stick is frozen right aft, the smoke in the cockpit, and it's obvious the plane is tumbling. I mean, this plane is not flying, it's just metal careening through the air. I didn't have enough altitude to slip my parachute to the river, so I planned and went ahead and did my parachute landing fall, and I was disconnected from my parachute. And there was an old bomb crater there from days past. It's about 3 feet deep. I jumped down in it. You don't give up until it's over, because you can still win.